Hi, good morning, one and all. Welcome to 10th Biology. In this session, we are going to discuss about 4th chapter, excretion. Means the wastage disposing system. It is also called as a renal system or urinary system. So, nephrologist means the study of the expert in that urinary tract related diseases. So, nephrologist or urologist. Next, renologist or the urologist. So, we are having the different names regarding this excretion. The wastage disposing system. So, X means out. Crenate means shift. So, shift out of these waste materials from our body, which is produced by these bodily activities like metabolic activities. So, this phenomena takes place in our body in the excretory system of man. So, what are the chief excretory organs in our body? Obviously, the kidneys are the chief excretory organs in our body. Of course, we are having the other accessory excretory organs that we have to discuss in that later. So, at present, we are going to explain that the excretion, the wastage disposing system. So, before coming to the mechanism of urine formation, I would like to recall the concepts like the location of kidneys and the excretory system of man. It's very important. When we are having the full knowledge about the excretory system of man, like a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters and a urinary bladder, the structure of the excretory system of man along with the internal structure of the kidney, I mean that the LS, longitudinal section of the kidney. Next we move to the structure of nephrons, which are usually called as the functional and the structural units of the kidneys. Obviously, the each kidney, which is made up of millions of, more than a million of a microscopic tubules like thin tubules like structures are called as nephrons. So usually each nephron is made up of mainly two portions. One is Malpighian body. So Malpighian body consists of Bowman's capsule. It is a blind cup-shaped structure. It is called as a Bowman's capsule, and they are having the bunch of capillaries that which are present in that Bowman's capsule is called as glomerulus. So the rest of the part is called as a renal tubule. First one is renal capsule. The second part is renal tubule. So renal tubule is having again three parts. Those are called as PCT, proximal convoluted tubule or first convoluted tubule. Second one is loop of Henle. It is a just like a hairpin shaped structure. A slice of the woman, like that is called as a hairpin, that we call as a loop of Henle. The third portion is it is a distance, so that is called as a distance convoluted tubule. These are called as a DCT, which already we learned in the part of the excretion in the previous videos. In that part of the discussion, it is very essential to let us coming to the mechanism of urine formation. I would like to once again repeat. We have to thorough with the aware of these concepts: excretory system of man, internal structure of the kidney, structure of nephron. Then it is very easy to understand the concept of mechanism of urine formation, or else it's very become too difficult process. So actually mechanism of urine formation, it is very interesting. How the urine is produced, how the urine is micturition means sent out or ejaculated from our body, means outside of our body. How it is produced the urine? It is very interesting. Quite. So today in this session we are going to learn about how the urine is produced. If not, what will happen? Those questions are very interesting in our real life scenario. So in this regards, we are going to explain about mechanism of urine formation. Means how the urine is formed. That mechanism we are going to explain now. So it involves in the four stages. Obviously, the first one is glomerular filtration. Glomerular filtration are also called as pressure filtration or ultrafiltration. It means very minute selective filtration. Next, tubular reabsorption. Next, tubular secretion. It is absorption, it is the secretion. Tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion. Next, formation of hypertonic urine means concentrated urine. So actually blood is a chemical composition of mainly two parts. One is the plasma, which is the liquid portion, and the solid particles like blood cells. So in this plasma, water content is the major component, along with the salts, bile salts and bile pigments. So here what is happening? Actually, the blood cells are filtered out, and the waste products should be eliminated in the form of urine. So it takes place in each nephron of the each kidney. Obviously, each kidney is having more than a million of microscopic tubules like structure is called as a nephron. As you know that from our heart, the systemic artery means it can arises from the left ventricle towards to the downward parts. I mean that the kidneys. So systemic artery, it can arise from the left ventricle and it reaches to the each kidney in the form of renal artery. Why? Because renal system means it refers to the excretory system. So systemic artery means it arises from the heart towards to the body parts. So that is called as a systemic artery, which arises from the left ventricle of the heart. It leads to the each kidneys in the form of renal artery. From there, the renal artery, it can be leads to the each kidneys in the form of afferent arteriole. Renal artery, each kidney, each nephron, renal artery enter into both the kidneys. But once the renal artery enter into the each kidney, then it goes to the each nephron. More than 1.3 to 1.8 millions of nephrons are present in the kidneys. So that one renal artery can be divided into number of afferent arterioles, which leads to the Bowman's capsule. First I explain that theoretical part, then I support the textbook diagram, then you can easy to understand. So actually glomerular filtration means it takes place in the Bowman's capsule. It is a blind cup-shaped structure. So this is called as a afferent arteriole, which is having the more diameter when compared to efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole leads to the Bowman's capsule. Here the filtration takes place. This filtration is called as a glomerulus. So filtration takes place because of this broader afferent arteriole, which leads into the small space. Because of this pressure exerts on that this glomerulus, it can be filtered out. That means here the filtration takes place, but this filtration is called as ultrafiltration or pressure filtration. So because of this pressure exerts, so that is why it is called as a pressure filtration or ultrafiltration. Why? Because only the blood cells can be filtered and the fluid portion should be sent out. So here this portion is called as PCT. Here the portion is called as PCT. The formation of this part is called as primary urine. So first part is glomerular filtration. The filtration which takes place in the glomerulus, it is a part of the nephron in the Malpighian body. So these glomerular plus Bowman's capsule together we call it the Malpighian body. It is a part of the nephron. So first half the glomerular filtration takes place. I mean that except the blood cells, the total fluid portion can be coming out through this filtration process because of they are having the podocyte cells which are having the pores. Through this pores ultrafiltration, only the fluid portion can be filtered out except the blood cells. So the blood cells can be coming out through this efferent arteriole, it can be followed to the renal tubule. So this is called as the PCT portion. PCT means primary convoluted tubule or first convoluted tubule. So at this place of the urine, this is not a urine because of these are having the primary urine, but it is equivalent to a chemical composition of blood except blood cells. It's not a urine. It is called as just primary urine, but it is having the more amount of water as well as the useful and waste products. Is it clear, students? It is a very important point. At the place of PCT, where the blood is filtered out in the glomerular filtration, the blood cells cannot be filtered, so it should be passes along with the blood capillary, that is called as a efferent arteriole. So this filtration is called as pressure filtration or ultrafiltration. Next, as a result of the pressure or ultrafiltration, what is formed? Primary urine is formation. So this primary urine is having the two components. One is the waste products as well as the useful products. Why? Because in the liquid portion of the primary urine having the essential materials like glucose, amino acids, proteins, fatty acids, hormones, enzymes, water. So all the materials, salts, all the essential materials along with the waste products, both combined formation of urine is called as a primary urine. So once again we should observe these useful products and eliminate these waste products in the form of urine. So that process takes place in the tubular reabsorption. Tubular reabsorption. So this is called as a tubular reabsorption. So when the here tubular reabsorption is occurs in the PCT portion, primary convoluted tubule. So here primary convoluted tubule to peritubular capillaries, but the primary urine which is formed, that should be reabsorption. So once again I would like to support the textbook. See here, all of you, I would like to explain based on the textbook content. See children, actually what I told till now, so this is called as a renal artery, this is the renal vein. So renal artery arises from the systemic artery of from left ventricle of our human heart, and it leads to both the kidneys, right kidney and left kidney. Obviously renal artery has dividing into number of afferent arteriole. Each afferent arteriole leads to each nephron. So nephron is having mainly two parts. One is the first part, that is called as a Bowman's capsule plus glomerulus is called as a Malpighian body. The rest of the part, PCT, loop of Henle, DCT is called as a renal tubule. This is the renal capsule, this is the renal tubule, two parts. This is the structure of nephron along with the mechanism of urine formation. So we are having the basic idea about structure of nephron and the mechanism of urine formation together. So see children, here this is called as a renal artery. Renal artery enters into each nephron in the form of afferent arteriole, which is having the more diameter when compared to efferent arteriole diameter. So because of this pressure exerts on these blood vessels, the filtration takes place. This filtration is called as ultrafiltration or pressure filtration. As a result of this ultrafiltration or pressure filtration, the primary urine is formed in the PCT portion. But the efferent arteriole can be followed the entire the renal tubule. I mean that PCT, loop of Henle, DCT, which is very important. See, in this primary urine, some of the waste and useful products are produced. The waste products are sent out through the urine, which leads to the urinary bladder. The useful products, which can be peritubular network, which is followed, peritubular capillary network. So the useful products are once again reabsorption. Reabsorption takes place here. So at the point of PCT portion, the useful products like glucose, amino acids, solids, liquids and gases should be absorbed in this PCT portion. Next here this is PCT, this is the loop of Henle, it can be passed out. Next DCT portion. See here carefully in the arrow marks. So from pericapillary tubular network to DCT, this is called as active secretion. Here the wastes which are produced in the blood, it can be eliminated to the urine. So it can be leads to the collecting that, it opens into pelvis and it leads to the urinary bladder. So this is happens in the glomerular filtration or pressure filtration or ultrafiltration. Next tubular reabsorption occurs in the PCT portion. So the useful products are absorbed in the blood. The wastes which are present in the blood, that should be secreted into urinary blood, urine, these collecting duct. So this is happens in these 4 stages. Next, coming to the 4th point is called as formation of hypertonic urine. Formation of hypertonic urine means the concentrated urine is formed. Actually, see, let us coming to the blood. We are having the plasma. Obviously, they are having the more major amount of water content. So here what I would like to say is Formation of hypertonic urine means concentration urine is formed because of these. Actually, in the place of PCT, 75% of water is reabsorption. 75% of water which is present in the primary urine, that should be absorption in the peritubular network. 75% of water is reabsorption. Remaining 10% of water, remaining 10% of water reabsorption in the loop of Henle. So total 85%, 75% plus 10%. So total out of 100, 85% of amount of water which is very essential to our body, it should be reabsorbed in the PCT portion and this loop of Henle. So remaining the 15% amount of water can be reaches to the DCT portion. So here the distal convoluted tubule or second convoluted tubule, what is happening here? See, when the primary urine which reaches to the DCT portion, already the excess amount of water is reabsorption, and the out of 100, 75 plus 10%, 85% is reabsorption. Remaining 15% is there, that is present in the DCT portion. Here one more hormone that is called as a vasopressin. The hormone vasopressin is secreted at the place of DCT when the concentrated urine is to be passed out. So vasopressin hormone is secreted from the posterior part of the pituitary gland. Do you know the children? Pituitary gland are also called as master gland or main gland, which is present in the hypothalamus of brain. So it is having the three lobes. The third lobe is called as a posterior lobe. It secretes the vasopressin hormone. So it is the hormone responsible for the maintenance of that concentration of urine. So if the vasopressin is absent, what happens? The diluted urine is secreted. That means 15% of this water is released. So when compared to that, see this 15% means nearly approximately per day we are releasing the 1.5 to 1.6 liters of urine. I mean that 1.5 liter of urine is secreted in a normal or usually. When coming to that vasopressin is absence, it leads to that a disease called as diabetes insipidus. So do you have an idea about diabetes mellitus? It is a blood sugar, means diabetes sugar disease. The blood sugar increased in the blood. Sugar levels are increased in the blood is called as diabetes mellitus. But it is called as diabetes insipidus, means diluted urine. Nearly 20 liters of urine can be secreted every day of these patients. This is called as a diabetes insipidus. So obviously 4 stages are there. One is glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption at PCT portion. Useful products are reabsorbed and waste products are secreted into these from pericapillary network to these uriniferous tubules. So this is happens. Next, formation of hypertonic solution, formation of a hypertonic urine by this vasopressin. Next, coming to the ureters. See, coming to next part. So then we are having idea about excretory system of man. So up to here completed. Obviously, all the nephrons are collecting the urine from that hilus to pelvis portion, which leads to ureter. This is the hilus. So all the uriniferous tubules are nephrons which collected the urine that should be leads to the pelvis or hilus. It leads to the ureter portion. So these are called as a pair of ureter, nearly 30 centimeters long. It is called as a whitish, a pair of whitish distensible and muscular tubes of 30 centimeters length, which each kidney it is collecting from the pelvis portion. So obviously it can be leads to the urinary bladder. So next coming to, so after completion of ureter is a whitish distensible, a muscular tubes which nearly 30 centimeters length each ureter. Each ureter respectively it leads to urinary bladder. It is a median pear-shaped sac-like temporary storage of urine in that urinary bladder. Next, it is present in the pelvic part of the abdomen. Its storage capacity is nearly 300 to 400 ml of urine. Next, this is called as urethra. It is a tube-like structure that takes the urine from the urinary bladder to outside. So it is a urethra. Urethra is nothing but a tube-like structure which is present in the urinary bladder. It is the connecting to the outside. The urine which is collecting, and it is a tube exits to outside. Next, coming to the urethra, it is 4 centimeters length in the females, whereas coming to the males, it is having the 20 centimeters length. I mean that in case of the male, the ejaculation of urine and sperms both are same way, so that is why it is called as a urinogenital duct. But in case of female, the urine and releasing is separate ways. I mean that here you can see, in case of the female, the males are having the vestibule, the opening separate in the females, but it is common in the both the reproductive tract in males, that is called as urinogenital duct. That means urine plus the penis. Penis is the common way to release this urine along with the sperms. This is called as urinogenital duct. Whereas in case of the females, the ovules can be released by this other way, that means fallopian duct, and the urine is separated from that urethra. So this is the difference between the male and the females. The last one is called as micturition. So micturition in the sense, the urge of the urine which can be pressured to the to release the urine from the urinary bladder to outside. So the urine is temporarily stored in the urinary bladder. The urine is temporarily stored in the urinary bladder. Obviously, these urinary bladder is having the 2 sets of circular sphincter muscles are present in the bladder. So when the urine is filled out of this urinary bladder, obviously it can be giving the pressure exerted in this urinary bladder. Then it can be constricted and exit is closed. So what I am saying here, actually it is the urinary bladder is having the 2 sets of sphincter muscles are there. 2 sets, one is inside, one is outside. So what I am saying here, however the urine is filled in this urinary bladder, the walls of the urinary bladder is having the pressure and it can be constricted and the exit is closed. The urethra is closed. However, the pressure is increasing in the urinary bladder, the wall, automatically it can be relaxed. That means exit is open. The outside exit is opened. But the inner sphincter muscle is there, second one. It can be controlled in the form of a brain. So the brain can control the inner sphincter, but upper sphincter is relaxed by automatically when the urine is filled with the urinary bladder. So the lower sphincter is controlled of a brain. So this is the information about urinary bladder. Next, our average, actually the urge of the micturition occurs when the urinary bladder is filled with nearly 300 to 400 ml. But the maximum capacity is 700 to 800 ml. But the exerted per day about 1.6 to 1.8 liters. Means an average a day, a person, healthy person can eliminate the urine in the form of 1.6 to 1.8 liters. Means nearly 2 liters, 1.8 liters of urine is eliminated. So this is the information about mechanism of urine formation. Next we are having the composition of urine, that means chemical composition. Next dialysis. Next one is other accessory excretory organs. These are the information we are going to explain in the next video. Thank you children. Thank you very much.